Welcome to ShadowMeTarot. I do want to take a moment to thank you all for continuing to watch my channel and subscribing and giving me thumbs up. It's great. You all give me great feedback as well, so I'm truly grateful for all of you watching. Today we do have a new release. It just came out. Let's see. Oh yay! And it is the the Phantomwise Tarot. Okay, so when I first saw this, all they had was the cover, and I'm like, just the cover. I'm like, gotta have it. I mean, look at that. That's so cool, isn't it? So the Phantomwise Tarot, from the author of The Night Circus, by Erin Morgenstern. So this is based off of a book. It looks like. It has this little sticky here. But this was just released on November 15th. And it says, The Phantomwise Tarot, a 78 card deck and guidebook. Welcome to a nocturnal fantasia where nothing is as it seems. The images in this black and white dreamscape exist now and then and out of time completely. Somewhere between asleep and awake, the hand-painted characters and creatures who inhabit this circusy wonderland serve as symbols illustrating moments and mysteries encountered on life's journey. The enclosed guidebook will light your way, but you must trust your intuition as you travel the path of the Phantomwise Tarot. Okie dokie. Ooh, nice box. It is actually a nice box. I like the box. It's okay. I do like decks that they're a little bit easier to just dump out like that. That's just my preference. But it does fit on the shelf pretty good. All right, let's take a look-see, shall we? Ooh, little newbie paper here. It's a new deck paper. Okay. What do we have here? The Phantomwise Tarot Introduction. Still she haunts me, phantom-wise, Alice moving under skies, never seen by waking eyes. And this is by Lewis Carroll, Through the Looking Glass, and What Alice Found There. Boy, I can't talk today very well. Okie dokie. So we have it starts right up with the spreads, my favorite thing. So, woohoo. Yay. But it says the dreamer, the Aquarian's current position, dreaming, the unconscious hidden influences or something unseen, and the conscious outside influences or actions to be taken, which is the waking. And then we have celestial navigation spread, the ship, the current position or circumstance, the sextant, a tool that may be used to aid on this journey, the evening star, an idea or influence that may be fading, the North Star, a point to keep constant, the morning star, an aspect that has yet to be considered, and the far shore, the goal or destination. Very cool. Ooh, down the rabbit hole spread. Number 1 is the Fool, the Aquarian's current position. Number 2 is the Rabbit, the short-term goal or situation. Number 3 is the Cat, a warning or caution. Card number 4, the Rabbit Hole, that which is upcoming. 5, the Fall, that which is unexpected. 6, the Underground, that which must be traversed and explored or overcome. And card number 7, the World, the ultimate outcome or result, the core of the journey. Okay, and then it goes right into the major arcana. And the book is as vibrant as the deck, I would say, in terms of, I mean, if these were color cards, this would be a full color book. So like magazine quality pages. All right, so yay, that looks beautiful. Let's pull out the original Rider-Waite deck and give it a comparison. Look at that. I still have like the 30-year-old book. I'm only going to admit to 30 years. Okay, so we have the Fool is our first card. And look at that. She is just wandering through the woods. It's Alice. Look, she's following the rabbit down the rabbit hole. She's got a little kitty cat by her side. And it's white. And of course, it's black or white. There's no in between in this. Well, there's some grays, maybe some browns. Okay, so we've got the Fool. Let's move in there a little bit. I do like the imagery already. I really do like the imagery already. All right, let's see what the next one is. The Magician. Very traditional. We have the pentacle, the cup, the sword, and the wand with the infinity sign. And I'm just going to flip through here. It's basic. The book is basic in terms of the meaning. So just kind of manifesting what you want, using the tools at hand. The High Priestess, your intuition. She looks like she has some sort of globe, maybe the earth in her hand. She has the moon at her feet. She has, I want to say, like chopstick bun in her hair. She's got a moon necklace. She's reading a book, but it does not say Torah. We do have the black and white pillars. What's the difference? I don't see pomegranates, although that's pretty shiny, so I don't think it's a pomegranate, but there we go. That's our High Priestess. Then we have the Empress. And in this version, she is pregnant, blooming. She's in a garden. Pretty much always depicted in a garden. The Emperor. This is an interesting card in the sense that it has a very Egyptian feel to it for me. But the face is all wrong. It should be like a dog head or something. And this should be a life sign instead of like, this looks like the Hierophant's thingy. See, doesn't that kind of look like that? But there's only 2 instead of 3 little things. But he's got the scepter like the king. I don't see anything related to Aries off the bat. It's interesting for me. When I think of an emperor, I do think more of like, I guess, Egyptian kind of. Here's the Hierophant. He looks more like Merlin to me than the Pope. But it just shows you how much power the church has, right? That a card would be replaced with the Pope. Because this is very much a higher wisdom card, right? Just period. But having a symbol of the Pope is pretty powerful. Okay, so the Lovers. Oh, I like that card. See the whole picture, the whole world from that vantage point. All right, and then we have the Chariot, hot air balloon going into the stars. Adventure is kind of what I would kind of take with that Chariot. Movement toward adventure, movement on adventure, adventure ongoing. It's kind of where I would, mid-adventure, is kind of what I would say there. The Strength card. Oh, I love that we used a cheetah. I almost feel like, I was going to say at first she looks pregnant. And I was like, no, that's just, and that tail is like snake-like. But I do feel like she's at peace with her monsters, right? Her inner monsters, her inner demons. Infinite inner strength is kind of what I get from this. And here she's sitting on a solid foundation, which I would almost say is represented by the mountain in the old Rider-Waite. All right. Then we have the Hermit. And he is reaching out to his inner light, his higher being. That's what I see there. He's grounded, getting grounded. He's rooted behind that, in front of that tree. The Wheel of Fortune. Dizzying destiny. I just kind of look at that and I'm like, you are now feeling very sleepy. Go rob the bank. Like those old cartoons. All right, then we've got Justice. And the sword is put away. So she's not having to cut away to the truth. I want to say that it's slightly, I mean, It's just the drawing probably, but my perspective, I'm like, it's slightly off balance, but I think it's just the perspective. It does make me wonder though, like get out the ruler and the measurement. Is that an off balance justice? Perhaps that just means I'm a little off. I like that there's a female character versus a male character. And I see her more weighing her options, I think, with that sword kind of put away. Getting to the heart of the matter, maybe, is what I kind of get there, being female kind of character on there. The Hanged Man. I love that he has a top hat that doesn't fall off while he's upside down. Woohoo! Anti-gravity. I can't wait for that world. Can you really shift your perspective if your hat doesn't fall off your head? It's interesting that they use the opposite leg in order to draw this. This is a Freemason. I should probably look it up. I say it all the time. I do know that this is related to the Freemasons, this like 4 symbol that he's got with the legs, or that way of its crossing of the legs. So what I want to say is that the difference is that this is not perpendicular. And here it kind of like, I don't know, it's just not perpendicular. I'm even looking at the angles. I'm like, are the angles the same? No, they're not. But yeah, putting a spotlight on shifting your perspective, or I mean, that's what I see. Just putting a spotlight on the fact that his hat doesn't fall off his head. And then we've got the Death card. And here I almost feel like it's refusal to cut away that which does not serve us, and hide our head in the sand or behind the umbrella in our tears and our sadness. That's kind of this deck actually really kind of speaks to me a little bit. I'm digging it. This is probably a pretty good shadow deck, like if I'm sad. I can't wait to do the interview. All right, so we've got the Death card, and then we have Temperance. And you've got the Cancer symbols there, is what looks like to me. They're just upside down or reversed, inverted. I don't know. She's making a cup of tea. I almost feel like it's a conversation, right? In this Temperance, it's a balanced and fair kind of conversation, maybe guided by your angels. Those are all the messages that I'm receiving from this particular deck, more so than I relate to maybe even the Rider-Waite deck. And that's what I like about these, the artistic liberties that you get to take with, these different decks that are based on, I don't know, one of the tarot decks. Most of them the Rider-Waite, but some of them Marcellus or Thoth or Hermetic, or I don't know. There's a bunch of different disciplines, but they vary slightly in their meanings. Like if you looked up similar words in the thesaurus, each other's definitions would kind of come up. So, what is it? Like Calypso says in Pirates of the Caribbean, different versions, same story, and all are true. All right, we've got the Devil. And I love that he casts a long shadow, right? I think that shadow really denotes the card itself. His eyes are hidden beneath the cap. He's got something to see out, but no one can see in. To me, this is kind of like... he's hiding something, right? He's hiding his shadow, whatever it is that he's hiding. So I always look at the Devil as codependence, probably because I am, or have tendencies towards, and or in recovery. But I do always look at this as some sort of addiction. Sometimes it's even just an addiction holding fast to our pride, our ego. And when our shadow cast is long, That means our light isn't going out into the world. Our shadow is. I don't know. That's what I'm getting. What do you all get? What do you guys see in these cards? I think it's interesting that this deck has the tower in the sky. We don't see any foundation at all. So my question is, what is this tower built on? And what is it built with? Because this just looks like wrought iron, you know? Is it a small tower? Is it a big tower? I see clouds behind it. It feels like it's in the air. So like, what is the foundation? So I almost feel like in this tower card, if I were to get this in a reading, I would be like, failure to plan is a plan to fail. Is kind of what I get from that card. Surprise or no surprise is kind of how I feel about that. If you don't have, like, you know, any plan or foundation for what you're doing, then plan to fail. I don't know. It's just interesting. It's out. It's in the sky. Where's its foundation? That's it. That's all I want to know. The perspective in the drawing is good. All right, we have the star, and she's her back is to us instead of towards us. She's clothed. There are no trees and no bird. Lots and lots of stars. A couple of mountains. She's sitting on rocks. I mean, I feel like this gives me a much more hopeful feeling than this does. Do you know what I mean? This tells me more like I'm going to the well and getting inspiration. And here I'm going to the well, I'm getting inspiration. And here I feel like she's doing the work. Not that she's not doing the work here, but she is sitting on rocks. Although this one's kneeling. You can say that they're both kind of resting themselves. But that hopeful, that looking up while pouring the water out just makes me feel it just makes me feel like a prayer, like an emotional prayer for hope, for change, maybe. Here we have the moon, where this cat is just recharging in the light of the moon, resting, rejuvenating, healing, is really what I'm feeling there. Because that cat looks very content on that branch in that light of the moon. So I feel like this would be like a card about being comfortable with yourself. And I always look at the moon as like digging deeper into that shadow. So I feel feeling comfortable in the shadow of yourself. I like the message of this card. I think that's pretty cool. I guess similarities though, the pillars would be represented by these trees, I think. And that's it. There's a moon in it. And we have the sun and the sunflowers, but no young child. I don't know. How do I feel about this card? It feels like a hot day on a hot, dry day. Not in the desert, but like just a dry place where sunflowers grow. It seems like there's dust in the air. But yeah, hot, dry. I would even give a timing of the year as kind of like late summer, fall. Things are starting to dry. Ooh, judgment. Is your heart lighter than a feather or as light as a feather? I think that's kind of, and that's immortality, right? Life symbol, I think, for Egyptian culture or hieroglyphs. Is your heart lighter than and I think that dog is like Anubis. And I believe that there's a similar kind of angel for like Christianity that does kind of the same thing. But I almost feel like midlife crisis on this, right? You're going to take a look at yourself. I've always thought of this as an awakening card. And here people are coming out of their graves. Like, I almost feel like your ancestors cheering you on, coming out of the doldrums, you know, returning from the depths of your emotion, and that kind of healing thing so that your heart may be as light as a feather. Maybe. And then we have the World, and she's grounded. Look at her world is her tree is quite grounded. And she is also grounded on the earth, and she's got her, this is the Fool card. This is where she went. To find her own self, her own place, her own world. She's created her own world, and she's followed that rabbit to do it. That's kind of how I feel about that. Where the Fool is going, where they end up. And she looks like she's on top of the world. All right, I do like these cards. And they have like a linen feel. Ooh, they are linen. Oh, I love linen cards. And I would say better quality than like a bicycle linen. Because, I don't know, they're just nice. They're a nice mat. Can't wait to shuffle them. All right, Ace of Wands. So I'm going to say right now, this viney thing right here around this stick reminds me of like when cucumbers or peas or even tomatoes start to grow, right? We like give them something to latch onto and climb up to the sun. I don't know what is up with my voice. Please forgive me. But I do feel like it's like something is about to take root, right? Something that is that's it. I'm just going to say that. This is something that's about to take root. Now, I typically think of this as being a new passion, but I do kind of feel like this card is a bit, is grounded. And I do see kind of how, I mean, the whole deck is black and white, right? Wouldn't some of its definitions be also black and white? I don't know, just saying. But I do feel like this is like something is beginning to take root. Good, bad, or indifferent is how I would probably read this card. Whereas this card, I'm like, this is a new inspiration, a new passion taking hold, a new hobby that has kind of sparked your interest, something like that. And here we've got the Two of Wands. And here I feel like this cat is like formulating a plan, right? Getting a better vantage point as to where he's going to go next. Now, it looks like he's on a branch looking down at the snow. It could also be like a crack in the ice. It could also be a crack in the sidewalk. It could be tree roots. The picture itself doesn't give me a whole lot other than that little snippet. So what does it remind you of? You know, what do you see? Is that cat in trouble? And I think how you interpret the card is not only how you see it for the first time, but also how you see it based on the for the first time after you've seen the cards around them. So I think the Two of Wands, it could be a couple of different things. It's no matter what, it's making a plan. If I'm in trouble, how to get out of it. And if I'm going somewhere, where am I going? All right. And then we've got the Three of Wands. And she's like waiting. I like this picture of a ship in the background. This is a common theme for a lot of Rider-Waite artistic decks, I guess. And I like that because I always think of it as my ship is coming in. You know what I'm saying? And it's almost like that ship can be going out, you know, to get you something and bringing, or it could be coming back and bringing you something. It could be your way, your new path, your new journey. You know, you're waiting for your ship to come in to start your new journey. But I always kind of look at this as like the plans are in motion. Like you've already navigated a path, right? Now you're just waiting to see, how that planning works. How, see your ship come in. It's really, you're waiting for those efforts to kind of come back. And then the next card, Four of Wands, I've always thought of it as being your idea, your passion kind of taking root and creating a new foundation. And a new foundation always kind of starts with sticks, but here it does look very much like it very much looks like a party and a wedding here, and what they're using the wedding cake here as well. So typically cause for kind of like a celebration of some sort of accomplishment or union. But I always think of it more of it's like an accomplishment because you're just starting out. It's not like you're just getting married. You're not at the end of 20 years of marriage and like the 10 of Pentacles. All right. And here we've got the Five of Wands. And this is, I always look at this as more of a competition card, even though it is kind of, it's five, it's conflict. They're using wands. They're not using swords. They're using sticks, not swords. Here they have a common goal of breaking apart this piñata. They're all swinging at the same time. I have to say that might be a bit dangerous. But again, competing for who's going to open the piñata and get the candy first. So I always look at this Five of Wands as kind of like a competition. It could also be an altercation, an altercation between you and another person, but it is conflicting. Then we have the Six of Wands. And he is King Cat right there. All the other cats want to be him. He's just walking on top of that fence. So victorious, victory, is what I always kind of think of with the Six of Wands. They're parading and celebrating a win. Oh, he's got a mouse. See, he did. He won. He got the mouse. So very cool. They all want what he's got. So he's got to keep his competition at bay. I do always kind of think of this as kind of like a leadership position, keeping people in line. But you never got it. You're always defending your position, even though I feel like you're in a. I mean, it can be kind of everything is against you, or you're. On this, he's always on a mountain. He's got the higher ground, and I would say the same for this one. This one, they've got the higher ground, but there's 6 against 1. And then we have the Eight of Wands, which I always think of movement. These look like they're falling to the ground. I think if I got this in the reverse, I would even say they're stuck in the ground. That's an interesting image. So that's always a movement card for me. Here's our Wounded Warrior. Can mean like PTSD. It can mean good boundaries. It can mean protective boundaries. It could be, but here I feel like, she almost is repairing that boundary line, right? She's the one, even though it's holding here, there's a space, like she is part of the boundary right now because she's fixing this one here, is what it looks like to me. And she's not wounded. So I almost feel like she's in charge of the rules of the game is kind of how I would interpret this card. Her choice as to who she allows in. And this feels like, both of them definitely a burden. But this one more care to balance. A skeptical cat here. I always sometimes see this as a single parent card. And then we have the Page of Wands. Our creative artist, precocious child, usually. Active, usually very active. And then we've got the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands is on a Black Panther. I almost feel like the Knight of Wands is quick for adventure. And almost secretive with the Black Panther, right? Because they move so stealthily. And then we have the Queen of Wands. She's always taking care of business. And the King of Wands. The man in charge. The Ace of Cups. Again, I feel that taking root kind of interpretation with that vine thing. So maybe rooted in emotion because of the cup. And then we have the 2 rabbits here. And this usually means like true love, unions, partnerships, but some sort of affection between the two, or a relationship between the two. I don't get, like, I don't know why I see this so much as a true love card, where I see this as masculine and feminine, even though neither is really masculine or feminine, even by their clothing. It's just an interesting thing. I know that rabbits mean stuff. So if I'm missing all of the rabbit kind of symbology, please, put it in the description below. I'm always looking to learn more as well. And the 3 of Cups in our celebration. Those beautiful women celebrating. All right, and then we've got the 4 of Cups. And there's nothing around. There's no greenery in this one. There are mountains in the distance. And I always think of this as an apathy, taking things for granted, just disinterested. In this one, I want to say it's kind of like it feels like depression, but like, it's just a boredom card. I guess boredom can turn into depression. Oh, there we go. Boredom turns into depression. There you go. That is a serious depression card. Now, she threw these 3 glasses away. She's crying over those, but there's 2 still up on the ledge there. But we don't know what she's grieving. But she definitely looks like she's grieving. This one too, but I get the grieving feeling much more from this image than I do from this image. Same, just personalize this one more. And then we've got the 6 of Cups, and he's having tea with his rabbits. And this makes me feel very childlike too, right? When you had tea with your stuffed animals, you had lunch with your stuffed animals. And then, yeah, just inner child. I do resonate with this deck. I can't keep another tarot deck. 7 of Cups. To me, this looks like all kind of wishes. In this one, I always feel like wishes, but I also feel like choices. Which choice do I want to go after? These are all the things that I wish for. Which do I want to go after? So I kind of feel like the same thing too. Options, choices, wishes is what I kind of get with the 7 of Cups. And I would read it accordingly, according to what it's sitting next to in a reading. Then we have the 8 of Cups. Now here she's leaving them at the bottom of a stairwell and going out maybe to find new freedom, new journey. But I always think of this as I did my duty, and now I'm going to go find my true self and what I'm supposed to do. So I always kind of look at this as a walking away, but not necessarily like from the relationships. It's just kind of leaving them there until later, while I go find myself, do my own thing, follow my soul's calling. I do kind of look at it as a moving away or moving towards your soul's calling, even though that means leaving other things that you may cherish or treasure behind. But it's not force, but I don't know. It's just a change. It's just a change. It depends on what it's next to and how you interpret it. All right. So the 9 of Cups is, he's gotten everything that he's wanted. Right. And I think what's interesting is how still, both of these images are. They're sitting in a chair. They're not going anywhere. And they've got all these cups around them. Right. And I kind of feel like there is a place that you get to where you're like, okay, I have everything I want. Now what? Now what do I do? So yeah, let me know what you guys think of that. And then we have the 10 of Cups. So we've got a whole bunch of bunnies. And whole bunch of bunnies, and that just looks like potential chaos. That's all it looks. But they all look happy. They all look safe for the moment. But I do feel like they're learning. There's kind of some experimenting happening here. There's some affection happening here. It looks like by a motherly figure. Perhaps the father is filling all these cups for everybody to have some tea, since we started out in the beginning with a cup of tea. But yeah, this is kind of, I always kind of look at this as a joyful family. We're past the first, 5 years of marriage, something like that. So it's just kind of growing in happiness, I think. The Page of Cups, our empathetic court card, or court child. These are emotional children who feel the pain of others. Often they need lots of validation. We all do on some level. And here we have the Knight of Cups, our romantic knight. The one bringing love on an oversized stuffed bunny. And the Queen of Cups. She's a diva. I always think of her as very much like the Empress when she was single. That's kind of what I think. And the King of Cups. In the upright, he is the master of his emotions. He is emotional, but not too emotional. He usually has lots of friends and is quite charming. Then we have the Ace of Swords, rooted in thought, is what I get there. Then we have the Two of Swords, which always means options. And either one of these, it feels like if you cut the ribbon from either one of these crows, which sword is going to drop is kind of what I look at that. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You're going to get a hand cut off. Which one you want? Which one you want to keep? That's kind of how I feel about that Two of Swords. Dangerous. But I do feel like the truth is with these blackbirds here, there's no good answer. There's no good choice, no good decision. Three of Swords, very much same, heartbreak, grief. And the Four of Swords. I think it's interesting she's got one laying next to her to protect her. I guess whatever you need to sleep soundly, right? Do what you need to sleep sound, is kind of what I feel like that one. Here it is on this one too, I guess. I just never saw it that way. Whatever helps you sleep at night is almost Whatever helps you sleep at night. That is genuinely the message that I get from this card. This is an interesting deck. It really is. And then we have the Five of Swords, which is kind of like, it's very similar in the imagery. I almost feel like this person is an authority for the sake of being an authority and exercises that authority for the sake of exercising it. That's kind of how I feel about that one. You're just picking on the little guy, kind of a bullying kind of card. And then we have the Six of Swords. And I like all the birds here, I like the blackbirds. I like the representation of truth in thought, and truth in mind, and intuition, because I don't know, it's just a nice way to think of swords. Swords to me are like, when I get swords, like these ones, like any of these swords, like I'm like, oh, swords, oh God. Sometimes I think thought is our downfall, our brain is the enemy. But I like that this is truth, new direction. I've always thought of this as safe passage. I do think of swords as kind of throat and third eye chakra a little bit. So I feel like this is safe to speak your truth. Would be another way of interpreting that card for me. And then we have the Seven of Swords. This guy is clearly sneaking and cheating, walking away. It never occurred to me, like, there's an encampment back here. But what it looks like to me is that he's a person at war and he's on the other side and he's coming over and stealing all of the enemy's weapons to prevent war. So I almost feel like this is like passively lying, right? It's when we lie to ourselves, like, or other people too. It's just deception. It's, you can't win without your weapons. So surrender. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for removing weapons, sneaking away with their weapons, deception. So there's a lot of different ways of kind of, but I do see him as taking their weapons away. And in this one, kind of the same thing. There's a ninja in the night, face is covered, all dressed in black, just walking away with all the swords. And then we have the Eight of Swords. And she's not really bound. It's only her dress that's kind of stuck underneath these swords. And she's like, ooh, I'm bound. So really, it's kind of like it is trapped by your own thoughts. I think I'm bound. I think I'm in danger, but I just want to believe that. Or I also kind of feel like you both aren't acknowledging what is out of your control or what is in your control. The Nine of Swords. This sword here looks like it's ready to stab her in the back. It's like whatever you're anxious over is going to kill you. Is kind of how I feel. With the point to hilt, all the way kind of down here, I kind of feel like lies, words, thoughts are stacking on one another. Ten of Swords, they've killed you. Your thoughts have killed you. I feel like this is what happens when you don't go with the change that the Death card requires. Or even the Eight of Cups. Like after this to me is the Eight of Cups. Sometimes you got to walk away and find a new direction, right? This can mean exactly just death. But typically it's an ending of some sort, and kind readers will tell you it's a new beginning because nothing truly ends, just a new beginning. Right? So if something is ending, that means there's a new beginning coming. But this to me is very much like something ending. The Page of Swords. I've tried to study the Page of Swords so many different times. Let's just read the Page of Swords. The people are so hard to remember sometimes. I know, like, in the reverse, she's like insecure, and maybe even like manipulative because she's so clever. But the Page of Swords, I do think of them as being very intelligent, not so emotional. Where are you? Here we go. Page of Swords. A winged ballerina presents a sword, ready to use their quick wit and sharp toes. A time for foresight and logic. Yeah, there we go. Foresight, logic. Those are the court cards of the swords. A message about being vigilant and being prepared. A person who is charismatic and inquisitive, filled with ideas, ready to follow where the wind takes them. And we have the Knight of Swords, and he's always rushing in, right? But I think after he's kind of thought things through slightly, then he rushes in. There's like no stopping him. Let's go now, kind of. He's very self-assured. And then we have the Queen of Swords. And she's also very logical. I always think of her as kind of like a judge in a court. And she is a visionary. She can see possibilities. She's very astute and she's direct. And then we have the King of Swords, who I always think of as like an admiral. But he is the seeker of diplomacy, right? And harmony. He's usually a very good problem solver, and thoughtful as well. He's also a Gemini. All right, moving on to the Ace of Pentacles. Ooh. I feel like, for whatever reason, I'm like, money grows on trees. So rooted, I am going to stick with that kind of rooted kind of meaning for these little curly cues, lifting this up, that it's coming from under instead of like on top, does make me feel like money grows on trees, or is coming up from the ground, or new money, or rooted in finances, rooted in, I always think of this as coin. It's circle like a coin, but rooted in the material, new resources. The Two of Pentacles, balancing your resources. You got to keep, the ball underneath you in order to keep the ball on top of you, or you'll lose them both. And then we have the Three of Pentacles, which I always think of as teamwork. This looks like a pip card to me. So there's not really a whole lot of divining you can get from a Three of Pentacles. I feel like the artist got tired on these two here, the Two of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles. All right, and the Four of Pentacles, conserving your resources. She feels like she's in kind of a humble place. She's only on a carton, essentially. I feel like she's got a little bit of money in her pocket. She's thinking about new money coming in. I think these two are in play. Like they almost feel like the two balls being juggled here, like the Two of Pentacles. So yeah, I do kind of feel like these two are in play. Reminds me of 10% of all you own belongs to you on the Four of Pentacles. All right, here's the Five of Pentacles, turning away from help, kind of destitute, feeling alone, but walking away from a lighted window. So you have to ask yourself, why would a person walk away from help? What does that help entail? And then there's a lot of like stigma around church, right? Because a lot of people have had bad experiences, or just, sometimes don't feel good. Whatever traumas passed down from the church. you know, there'd be a reason that people would turn away from that. I also kind of feel like this is an out of alignment, because 5 is always kind of like some sort of conflict. But it also feels like out of alignment with God, with your source, that you're turning away from your birthright of divine love and happiness. Then we've got the 6 of Pentacles, which is a giving and receiving card. I think it's interesting that they're using dogs. It's almost like she's in a kitchen. And I think they're both kind of rewarded her in giving the dogs a bone, which costs her nothing, and the happiness and joy that they reflect back at her. It's kind of what I see there. Giving to those in need, if you're the one in need, receiving what is being given to you or offered. The 7 of Pentacles. It's almost like he's waiting for the apples to grow, right? He's just sitting up there waiting for apples to grow. And maybe perhaps even dreaming about what he'll do with those apples. And the 8 of Pentacles. This is always a mastery card. Interesting that it almost looks like he's working with film, the way that they have it on there. Or he could be painting decorations. So I would say, if I was using this card, I would almost say, or this card deck to do a reading, I would almost be like, is the person working hard in the arts somehow? And then here's the 9 of Pentacles, and I like that they kept the bird. I think the bird kind of represents speaking your own truth, and living abundantly, owning what is yours, what belongs to you, putting out there what you want to get back. So I do feel like the Knight of Pentacles is a very comfortable card. It's very much, you know, you're in your own power card. And then the 10 of Pentacles. This castle is interesting in that it's opulent, but the dog's head is down. So I kind of almost feel like this is the darker side of opulence or richness, or, you know, decades of being able to save money, is, you know, hiding it and being cooped up in your house, alone. Even the dogs are outside. You've pushed everyone away, high walls. Where in this picture, everything is, you've got the family and the dogs kind of near the owners and giving affection. So I almost feel like this is the downfall of having riches, is that you're also alone. Not always, but this is not an abundance card. I mean, that does not look like abundance to me. And then we have the Page of Pentacles. She's usually hardworking, studious, and I do feel like in this card it demonstrates that she is working hard to train this dog. Then we have the Knight of Pentacles. I always think of him as like middle management. He's the guy who makes sure you got all your paper and your paper clips and your pens, and nobody ever runs out of anything, especially not coffee or creamer. All the employees are happy. Everybody's getting their work done in a timely manner, and he gets his work done too. I just feel like he's a dependable, responsible, reliable knight. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles, who is also all of those things. I think she's prudent. I don't want to say she's frugal. I think she's prudent in how she delegates her resources. And then we have the King of Pentacles, who I feel like is the ultimate abundance, right? He's on top of the world. He owns the material wealth. So he is kind of a kingmaker. He creates the King of Wands by giving a person who has an idea, who's got maybe the Four of Wands down, a small inspiration that's taken root. And as the bank provided them money and allowed them to do you know, take off and pursue their goals. So I always kind of think of the King of Pentacles as the king. So I always kind of think of the King of Pentacles as, yeah, the kingmaker. And that concludes this deck. So tell me what you think of the Phantomwise Tarot. If this is something that you think you'll get, what resonated with you the most. Oh, we have to do the deck. We have to interview this deck. It doesn't get off that easy. It doesn't go back to Amazon without learning about it a little bit more. Oh, they shuffle nicely. Nice and bendy. In linen, so like they're not going to hold the shape of the bend too rigidly. These are nice cards. They really are. They have a nice matte finish. I usually shuffle these a minimum of 6 times. Y'all are welcome to fast forward through that part. It is pretty thick. So it's definitely a heavier duty cardstock than my old Rider-Waite deck by a lot. All right. I don't think I've done a six shuffles yet. I do like the feel of these cards. This is going to be really hard to send this one back. It's like, how badly do I want the other card decks on my shopping cart? Will I really use this after I have so many favorites? But this is a really nice shadow deck, is kind of how I feel. There's some cards that I'm like less thrilled about, but not very many. The World popped out. And the 10 of Cups is on the bottom. Interesting. World of happiness that you don't see. The 5 of Pentacles. Turning away from resources. Wishing for something. Inner light. These don't count. I'm just throwing them out there. Oh, at the bottom I had the Ace of Cups. All right. And we'll introduce our deck. All right. What personality, wow, does this deck have? I just want to tell us, oh, the Fool. It's all about the journey. I definitely am getting that. Jeez, it's just popping out. I didn't even get a chance. I'm not going to flip them because there's 4 cards there. And if Spirit really wants those 4 cards, they will flip them out. Spirit, I'm going to ask you, please only give me 1 card on each one of these questions. So what is your strength? Did it flip? What is your strength? These cards are talkative. There is a lot of energy in them. What is your strength? What is your strength? All right. So we have the 7 of Cups. Wishful thinking turned into manifesting. Whoo. Okay. I'm convinced I might have to keep these. I want to turn my wishes into tings. For sure. Okay. And what is your weakness? Oh, if your strength is turning wishes into things, let's make this happen. What is your weakness? Oh, okay. The 5 of Swords. I got a self-defeat, right? I can't prevent you from self-defeat. I can't get out of your own way. Is kind of how I feel about that. I can't make you come take what's yours. I mean, those swords are just laid down. I always think that this is like, it's like not a real win when I see this card. I feel like it has no control over questionable behavior. It can mean it can't overcome selfishness. It can't overcome conflict. And it can't help you overcome lying to yourself. I kind of is what I get from that. And most decks, when I do the reading, I feel that it's like I can't do the work for you. But more importantly, I think this one is saying, look, I can't make you think differently. You have to be open and receptive to it. And you can't take, I can't stop you from taking hollow victories, I guess. All right, so moving on. How will you help me to grow? This better be a good one, because if I'm going to keep you, you had better help me grow. How are you going to help me to grow? How are you going to help me to grow? How will you help me to grow? Uncovering empathy. All right. Improving your... It's going to help improve your mood, have compassion for yourself and others. I very much feel... I feel like this is a very uplifting deck, even though it's dark and black and white. I do feel like it is like all tarot decks and all tarot stories, it is here to help you grow. But I do feel self-compassion here. When should I call on you for guidance? When should I call on you for guidance? When should I call on you for guidance? When I need to bring things into balance? When I need to sit down and have tea with my insecurities? And be kind to myself? When I need to be more emotional and open? What is the best way to work with you? What is the best way of working with you? What is the best way to work with you? What is the best way to work with you? Are you not going to work with me? All right, so for our viewers, what is the best way for them to work with you? If they are considering this purchase, what is the best way for me or our viewers or any purchaser to work with you? And we have the 5 of Wands and the 4 of Wands. So interesting. So it's kind of like know your competition and create a foundation that can last a lifetime. With a little training, you can build a foundation that lasts a lifetime. Whoa. Yeah, I think that is the best way to work with you. And what will our relationship be like? The Knight of Swords, not rushing in. Came out in the reverse. We're not rushing into a relationship is kind of how I feel about this deck. Although I do like the deck. I really like the cards. I like the way they feel. This will be a tough one. And I was very attracted to just even the cover, just the top of this when I first saw it. I think back in like, I don't know, February or something like that this year. When it came up for pre-order. But let me know what you guys think of this deck. Thank you all again so much for watching. I appreciate you spending your time with me. Have a beautiful, blessed day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.